On January 22, 2011, the Wisconsin-Illinois Model Railroad Club set up a working model railroad layout at the Hedberg Public Library. Just around a dozen men brought their cars and expertise, running trains and showing a bit of artistic flair in the scenery along the tracks. The event was exciting for children of every age, including the grown-ups. It takes a lot of work to set up the display. Roughly half a dozen club members showed up with their layout, all in pieces, parts and boxes, on the day before the event. Tables had to be set up, then leveled and measured. The layout was put together section by section. Special bolts at the bottom of each table were adjusted to make the section level and equal with the others. Each section had track tacked down on its surface. Track had to be added to join one section with another. Most of these sections were standard ready-made track. A few sections, however, required the meticulous connection of individual rails using what looked like a dental tool. The layout was pretty sparse at first. The guys added scenery as the Empire building continued. Work also had to be done on the electrical system. The boys got the behind-the-scenes track in place and began putting up the sections of screen with scenery which became the wall between them and the public. Finally, the skirting was put up, and last-minute details such as cleaning the oxidation off the rails went on. All told, roughly 3 hours passed before the track was up. About an hour of final preparations on Saturday, and the first people began to arrive. Prior to the people coming in, the track is put to a final test by the running of this Hiawatha train. The room soon filled with kids and adults who were quickly mesmerized and delighted with the trains. And oh, the rapture of the kids. Running a model railroad is much like running a real railroad. The layout is controlled with 3 wireless remote controllers, one for each direction of the double track and one for the yard.
Where's Thomas now?
Okay, go over on the other side.
Trains are made up behind the scenes and are sent out through a hole in the screen.
No, they're putting away. Oh, Thomas, like, they're gonna call me. They turn Thomas off. Okay, this is.
Club members even have to deal with derailments.
Oh my gosh, let's make a sport. I know, that's
Crashes.
somebody was coming in and you were coming around.
And even train cars coming uncoupled en route.
Just in time for the camera. Cool.
And just like in a real railroad, they go into full emergency.
Yeah. Decided to have a split decision, huh? We moved it, you go backwards. No, you're not supposed to come apart like that. What happened? Okay. No, it's you go down a curve like that.
Early in the day, I had a chat with one of the club members who shared his thoughts with me about the club. So, how long have you been with the club?
Oh, golly. I'm trying to think. Quite a few years. I want to say at least over about 15 years, maybe.
What do you get out of the club personally?
Oh, I enjoy the people and the children, how they react to the trains and that. They enjoy it, man. They're all full of smiles and they just love it.
Do you see any advantages over a club as opposed to your own basement?
Yeah, the camaraderie of the friendship and that we have with each other and that going to different events and other shows and that besides this one. And it's enjoyable. We get to see a lot of people and even shop around for other items to add to our club layout.
Club members bring their own cars and take turns running their trains. All sorts of railroads are represented. There's the Empire Builder. Amtrak. Chicago and Northwestern. This old steamer mixed train with the Wisconsin-Illinois Model Club logo on the side.
We have the bowling company, we have a couple of either hotels and motels over there too.
The Turtle Creek Central. Even Thomas the Tank Engine. If you have a model railroad, you are in good company. According to sources on the internet, famous people such as Winston Churchill, Tom Brokaw, Michael Jordan, Elton John, and Buster Keaton have all been model railroaders. Model railroading is a broad hobby. There is something for the artist, the design engineer, the electrician, even the showman. It is all evident in the scenery. Club members have different themes, showing railroads past and present.
Well, that's Rebecca. She's not in the meeting. Okay. Is she going to do anything about setting this up?
Some scenery is store-bought. Other scenery is homemade, which is known as kit bashing. The club's layout is in HO gauge and conforms to the standards of the National Model Railroad Association, which was first established in 1935.
Kids and Thomas the Tank Engine and the clubs.
HO means half of O gauge, and 1 foot of track on an HO layout represents 87 feet on a full-sized railroad. Greg Anderson was the club member in charge of the day's festivities. I caught up with him while he was switching cars in the industrial yard.
In the summertime, we're up the, we're up at the Milton House. We have a room in one of the warehouses up there. It's been there for 2 years. We have open houses up there, usually the third Saturday of the month, for the public to come in. And then we meet as a group individually at least once or twice a month on an evening. The members show up. It's not mandatory, but we haven't scheduled any work sessions yet, as of yet. We have to wait till the end of the show season, then we set up the layout in this building, and it's up there for 6 months until we go back into the cycle. So, but we're doing some extra work up there. We're putting in a new yard and hoping to make some new changes in our modules.
How big are these individual pieces, these modules?
Standard one is 4 foot by 2 foot. That's from an NMR, the National Model Railroad Association standard. We do have longer pieces. Sometimes some of them are 6 foot, but usually 4 foot is easy. It's usually easy for an individual to carry, and if they follow the standards, each module, as they're called, can be hooked up together electrically and run as a layout like this. We've gone into like what we call a sectional layout, in which we have the Milton and Milton Junction on one side, and we developed this industrial area and engine terminal on the other side. We have some additional modules that are privately owned that fit in here, but because of this particular show and the time constraints and the number of guys that were available to set it up, we've gone back down to our original small size of 24 by 12. So
Now in scale miles, how far is that? Is this like,
we tried to figure it out once. I think the largest we've had on here is probably, I think it was 1 3/4 miles actually, scaling.
yeah,
This probably isn't as big. This is probably maybe a mile around, maybe not even that.
so how do people get involved? I mean, are there dues?
We have a due structure of $25 a year, usually. It depends on what kind of expenditures we go through in a year. We don't pay any rent up at Milton, but we've asked the membership to become members of the Milton Historical Society, and their minimum entry fee is $12.50, which is very extremely reasonable, and that helps to offset the cost of electricity we use. Not a great deal, but we have it's air conditioned in the summertime, and so we only have one officer who's the treasurer, so we don't have a structure at all. Our
Very informal club.
very informal group. We try to keep it loose knit. We try to accommodate everybody. We've been around for 15 years, and we've had more members and we've had fewer members. But for that amount of time for an organization like this, I think it's quite an accomplishment.
Now, why do you think people should join a club like this?
Well, it gives you a different view on how to build things, paint things, model things. You have a camaraderie of people that enjoy model railroading and that can exchange ideas. I'm always learning something from somebody, and I've been in this hobby all my life. And you run into somebody that always got some different way of doing things or easier way of doing things. It just makes for a great group.
If you want to learn more about model railroading as a hobby, the Hedberg Public Library has the books, resource material, and staff to assist you. Feel free to make use of your library.